Hi everybody, I hope this video finds you well and that everything is going good for you. For those who don't know me, I am Elena Simpson, and last year around October I had made a Facebook post about how we were in the creating phases of doing a video that revealed the circumstances of my twin brother's death back in July of 2016. However, due to circumstances that were out of my control, that video just hasn't come to pass. So I'm just gonna try my hand at making my own video, because as we come up on his 1-year anniversary of his passing, there's still a lot of his friends and a lot of you that still don't know what happened. And so I wanted to get that information out, but then also bring awareness about what he struggled with, and I really want this to help others, to help save lives, and to help someone who may be struggling with the same thing, or to prevent someone from struggling with what he did. Last year, 2016, I think around May, he got the opportunity for a new job in South Carolina. I remember him being very, very excited about it. He was looking forward to a brand new start, to be out on his own and finding his own way. I drove down to Louisiana from Texas around the end of June to help him and our mom pack his things up. I think it was June 24th was the day that he left Louisiana. Sorry. But that was the last day that I saw him alive. Just a little over a month later, we got a call from a good friend who lived nearby and, was helping him out at the time. He had called me and said that he was concerned. He hadn't heard from Austin in a few days. He couldn't get in touch with him. He wasn't answering his phone. He wasn't answering the door at his apartment. So after talking with our mom and letting her know, we decided to call the police and have them go check his apartment. And it took a while. It took a couple hours. But we got the call that Austin had passed. They found him in his apartment, in his bed. And although we didn't have the coroner's report yet, his family, had a good idea of what had happened. And we didn't get the report until a couple months after his passing, so we couldn't even say anything right away, but the report confirmed that he had died from huffing. Some don't know what huffing is. Others know, but they don't really know the dangers of it. If you don't know, and that's part of what this video is for, to let people know, but huffing is when you inhale compressed air from canned air, aerosol sprays. It could be spray paint, dusting spray, air freshener. Someone has even used cans of Cool Whip. These are things that are found in your home. It's household products. And what they normally do is they'll spray the can into a plastic bag, then inhale it. And what that does is it creates like an instant high. But the high only lasts for a few minutes. And you kind of lose consciousness. You're kind of out of it for a little bit. But then when you come to, you want to do it again, because it's gone very quickly. So you keep doing it and doing it and doing it. It's very addictive, very, very addictive. through my research, a lot of young people are doing this because it's cheap. You don't have to be 21 to go buy a can of compressed air from the store. It's easy to get your hands on. It's easily accessible. And like I said, it's your household products. You have this stuff in your home. And it's mainly kids who are doing this and young adults. It's very dangerous though, because you don't know when it's going to cause something very drastic. The chemical themselves in these products, they cause brain damage. They cause lung damage because you're replacing the oxygen in your body with this chemical. It's caused heart attacks, and it can cause death. There have been people who have been doing this for years, like Austin, and then there are people who try it once and they pass away instantly just from that one time. I've read stories of kids passing away just after doing it once. So we have to, inform our kids of the dangers of this and let them know. There's just so many stories like Austin's. What happened with Austin was what he used was computer keyboard cleaner, and his autopsy report said it was poisoning from difluoroethane, which is the chemical in that spray, and it caused cardiac arrest, and his heart just stopped beating. So it ultimately cost him his life. Anyone who knew Austin he just, he was a great person. As kids, we grew up in Germany. We had an amazing life. We had an amazing childhood. We were so opposite, even being twins. He was just always outgoing, and he made friends easily. And me, I was just always quiet and staying home, and I just always admired him for his outgoing personality. And whatever he set his mind to do, he did it, and he did it with excellence. We both loved art as kids. We both loved to draw. He was a great artist. He also loved to dance, liked to break dance, and he was involved in so many sports, especially in high school. He did soccer, football, wrestling, and he excelled in those. I mean, champion across the board. He was so strong and determined. And I mean, even after his passing, so many people talked about how great of a guy he was and how much of an impact he made on their lives. So it makes you wonder. I know people are gonna question why. How could he get involved in something like this? And I can't answer that. I wish I could. The only thing I can say is we found some of his journals in his apartment when we went to go clean out his things. And he simply says he started to experiment. I don't know if anything contributed to that, if there was something negative going on at the time, but that's all he wrote, was he did it to experiment. And from that point on, I think it was a span of 7 to 9 years that he, every now and then would huff. But it would get continuous when, things weren't going very well in his life. Maybe relationships were failing. Things weren't going the way he wanted. And that's when he would turn to huffing. It was an escape. It was a way of just being numb to what was going on around him. It ended up costing him so much. It cost him friendships, relationships. It affected, relationships in our family. He lost jobs, and he even got into multiple car accidents, one of which almost paralyzed him. He was driving high, and thankfully he was the only car involved in that accident, but he could have been hurt very badly, much more than he was. He could have killed himself, he could have hurt or killed someone else. 7 to 9 years, it's amazing that he was able to continue with it for that long, when there's other people who do it once and they die. I think it speaks on the power of addiction, because when he went to South Carolina, he was looking forward to it. He was excited. He had a job lined up. He had an apartment. He had a good friend living not too far away. So with all of that good in his life, why would he still huff? I can't answer that, but I think it, like I said, it speaks to the power of addiction. It's easy to be on the outside looking in and say, just stop. Why don't you just stop? It's more complex than that. And I'm guilty of thinking that, But you never know what someone's going through. You never know how they're feeling. If they're depressed. And what they're struggling with, what they're battling with. And I may never know exactly what he was battling with. But it was enough to want to keep escaping, to just get away from his troubles. And he did get help. He went to a rehab for a whole year. I was proud of him. But after that, he failed to continue to get help. And I know that's just something you have to continue working on. You have to continue to surround yourself with people who will support you and who can, cheer you on, but you have to open yourself up to getting that help. And that's one thing that he struggled with. I know he did not like talking about his addiction, rightfully so. That's not easy to talk about. It may be seen as a weakness, and he probably didn't want, I know he said several times he didn't want to burden anybody. He didn't want to feel like he was a burden. He didn't want to let anybody down. But if I can imagine what he was feeling. People might ask if it was a suicide. No. In my heart, I don't think it was a suicide. He wanted to live. He wanted to live. I think he just lost control. Didn't realize how much he was doing. Just wanted to keep numbing himself, and it just ended up being too much. It was too much. So I think in revealing this information, it's to help people. And knowing the kind of person Austin was, I know that with his addiction, people might have the wrong idea about him, or maybe you experienced negative things with him, or some choices that he made, or maybe some behavior that he had. But who Austin truly was, he was kind and he was loving, and if he could help you, he would. So he would help people. He would want to help people. As hard as it was for him to talk about things, that he would want this to help somebody, and if it helps prevent someone from dying, then it's worth it to share it. And maybe it'll help someone overcome their addiction. Any addiction, it doesn't have to be huffing. Any substance abuse. I'm encouraging you to get help and to know that, I mean, there's people who have overcome this. There's been people who have overcome. And you can do it, but you can't do it alone. I think Austin, he just wanted so much to not be a burden that he isolated himself a lot. He didn't want to let anybody in. He wanted to do it on his own. You're gonna have to let people help you. And let people support you in getting better. And you have to admit that you have a problem. A lot of people don't want to do that, and it's hard, but you have to admit that you have a problem and that you need help. If it means that you get to live, it's worth it. It's worth it. When we were cleaning out his things, I found a journal entry. I want to share it with you because this speaks to Austin's character and his heart. I know I should have finished out the last pages of my previous journal, but I decided to start anew, to leave behind the more adolescent musings of a teenager and problems of early adulthood. Lessons have been learned, problems arisen and worked out, and questions have been answered, although a great many haven't been. This journal may seem a great deal like the one before it, and some issues may repeat themselves, but this will altogether be different. For those who read these pages, think of it as a new chapter, and maybe share or learn from what I've had to endure, and possibly avoid a similar heartache, frustrations, and mishaps. It may take a few years to even fill half this book, but the journey makes the read, right? So however short or full this book may be, I hope the negative never happens to you. If it has, then we know we've all been there.